All right, here we go. Good morning. We on OG. Welcome back to OG Boxing Talk. We got everybody on the line for the first time at the same time. Welcome back to OG. All right, let me turn this. I gotta mute this thing. Hey, somebody hit their mute button because I can hear an echo. Whoever's got their screen. No, you don't got to hit your mute. Just turn the volume down on your on the YouTube if you're watching it on the YouTube page. All right, man. So what's good? What's good? What's good? We got my man KQKC Boxing in the building. We got Curtis Anderson and Blood Boxing. Before we start, we're gonna walk around and have everybody let them know who you are and how to get in contact with you before we kick it off. KQKC, let them know who you are and how to kick it off and how to get in contact with you. KQKC. Hey,
yes,
Curtis.
Sir, right here. I'm right here. All right. I'm KQKC OG. Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm right here. All right. I'm KQKC OG. Yes, sir. Can you hear me? Okay, wait a minute. Okay. For now, go to someone else. I gotta put this on mute.
All right, Curtis Anderson, man, how you doing this morning, man? Let them know how to get in. Tell them how to get in contact you and what shows you doing.
Hey, what's going on, Fanon, KQ, and Blood, my brothers in the boxing game, man? You know, my name is Curtis Anderson. A lot of people know me by Kurt Sugar. I'm on OG Boxing Talk, obviously, every Sunday at 9 o'clock, and Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock. I'm on Blue Blood Live TV. We have a show called The Ghost in the Darkness, you know, and hey, man, I'm ready to talk some boxing.
All right. It looks like Blood might have dropped up off the line real quick on accident, man. So I sent that outline, man. So we're going to talk. Well, today what we're going to talk about, man, we're going to start with a little Spence. We were going to start with Spence Porter. Then we're going to talk about this idea that Canelo Alvarez is the new Henry Armstrong. Talk about PEDs in boxing. Then talk about our top 5 prospects in boxing so we can make sure that these young boys can get their shine. But first, we want to talk about something that came up last night, and that is the Gary Russell Jr. Gary Russell Jr. did one of the most odd call-outs or craziest call-outs I've seen in boxing, man. And if you guys didn't see, that's what we're going to start the conversation off. We got Blood back on the line. Damn, Blood dropped back up off the line. Blood must be having some difficulties today, man. So let me do this shout-out to everybody in the stream real quick. Ron Finkley, what's good, man? Felix Nunez, GG, what's going on, man? St. Cruising, what's good, right? What's good, man? Thank you, sir, for the best upload on the net right now. Omega Red, Corey Yellowman Jackson, Mr. Alexis Blood Boxing says good morning because he's having these technical difficulties, obviously. My man St. Cruising in the building. Omega Red, Melvin Wright, Jack Steele, Mr. Smith, Patrick Scott, CVP Jr. What's good? And what's good to everybody else in the chat, man? Bronx on deck for about 20 minutes. And the other co-host who's been, who had his work, for about 20 minutes. And the other co-host who's been, who had his work. Hey, you got to hit that mute, somebody, man. We having difficulty this morning. KQKC, that's you.
And that's me? Okay, yes. Hold on.
You not the mute on this. Hit the mute on your YouTube page. Just where you're watching it. You got to listen from StreamYard and you can watch it on the page. But if you have that open, it's gonna echo. Okay. So yeah, man. All right, man. So let's let's talk about this, man. KQKC boxing.
Okay.
So yeah, man. All right, man. So let's talk about this, man. KQKC boxing.
Just 1 minute.
I gotta mute you until you can figure it out. Curtis Anderson, man, were you able to see? Did you see the what happened between Gary Russell Jr. and Leo Santa Cruz?
I did not see it, and I'm pissed off that I knew nothing about it until you mentioned it. Please tell me what happened.
All right, so this is what happened, man. Gary Russell Jr. was somewhere. It must have been maybe at the PBC fights last night. It's probably at the PBC fights because the PBC fighters are there together and for the fight between Peter Quillen and Alfredo Angulo. And more than likely, it had to be that, right? So Gary Russell Jr. walks up to Leo Santa Cruz's dad, the cat that has cancer, with a phone in his hand and puts his arm around him. Is like, yeah, man, I like your chain, because Gary Russell Jr.'s, Santa Cruz dad was draped in gold, man, like 10, 11 gold chains, right? And he starts moving the chains, right? And then he says, yeah, man, I like them chains. I like them chains. He says, stop ducking me, Leo. See, I got your daddy. See, I can touch your daddy. And then he walks away from his dad. He's like, see how easy it is to touch your daddy? I can put my hands on him anytime. You need to fight me, man, because it's real easy to find your people. You see how we did that? So basically, man, he implied that he was threatening his dad's life if he don't fight him, but literally had him on video with his arm around his daddy.
Unbelievable.
So do you think that might be crossing the line of call-outs? Well, the rich tradition of call-outs in boxing, man.
Hey, Fanon, he crossed the line, man. You talking about an older gentleman with cancer, and that's what you do. Well, anything to do to get a fight with your son. So if I was Leo Santa Cruz, I would be furious. I would have to fight him at any cost. He did cross the line. But I like it, though. It's great theater for boxing.
Yeah, that's crazy. Blood, did you get a chance to see it yet?
I didn't hear shit about it till you told me about it this morning, and I just watched it, man. While y'all been here running your mouth, I was watching it, and that's why I accidentally got cut off. But you know what, man? He just did it just to get the man in the ring.
Cool.
He put his arm around him and just did it just to get the man in the ring. Ain't nobody gonna fuck with nobody's dad, because that's a death sentence right there. That don't have nothing to do with boxing. You start messing with people's family, you putting your life on the line then, okay? But I don't think he did it in no harmful way. I mean, he walked up to him, he put his arm around him, and his dad didn't even know what the hell was going on, it looked like to me, but he put his arm around him and, called him out. So shit, that should be all the reason more to get Leo Santa Cruz to fight. Guys like Leo Santa Cruz need a little bit of extra motivation because they're known as duckers. So maybe this will help him get the courage up to fight Gary Russell Jr. I mean, that's a fight I'd like to see. It's not one of the top fights for me, but Leo Santa Cruz has been a ducking fighter for quite some time now. But as far as him using his dad, I have mixed feelings about it, but I think he just did it just for some promo for the fight, man. That's what I think.
Yeah, KQKC?
Yes, sir.
What's your thoughts?
Okay, hey, I'm going to tell you just like this. That's street shit. All right, you don't mess with no one father, daughter, or anything like that. Dominic Brazil, he had to learn the hard way. Now, Gary Russell Jr., he's more professional than that. Their whole family are pretty good boxers. They're pretty good on the outside of the ring. They help out the people in the community, and they're doing a good job. Now, I know he wants that fight, and I know Leo Santa Cruz is dodging that fight, because he wants someone to stand there and sit there and throw 100-something punches, and Gary gonna throw a combination and get out of there. But that was wrong. You don't put your hands around somebody's father. That's like mafia shit. Sitting there, okay, hey, you better give me my money or he gonna disappear. That shit ain't cool. It ain't cool at all. So he could approach it another way. Wear another t-shirt in the ring or some shit. I don't know. But, don't leave people's family out of it. That's what they need to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. That was over the top, man.
Yeah.
That was over the top. At the same time, man, after I say that was over the top, he never actually really was near his dad or did anything when his dad was around. Just was kind of rude with the stop ducking. When he walked down that hallway, dude, that had to make people real hot. But hey, man, Leo Santa Cruz needs to stop ducking. Leo Santa Cruz needs to stop ducking people, because when people got to go to that extent, man, because you see sitting there, man, it seems like shit or get off the pot. Leo Santa Cruz, because him, Carl Frampton, and Abner Mars all moved up from 122 to 126 and wouldn't give Rigondeaux a fight. So Rigondeaux has to wind up going up 2 weight classes to get a shot at another big fight. Leo Santa Cruz is perfectly fine, just letting people hang out there, man. If he's going to hold the belt and he's going to be a champion, dude, fight him. I don't think this is going to result in a fight, though, because I just think that I think that Leo Santa Cruz just doesn't want it, man, and don't want to lose, and he's trying to cruise his way, through. So, man, just all in all, man, that shit was just all in all, it was foul. Let me get a couple of these, man. Much love and super chat to my man Omega Red, who said, salute to the Don, the singing OG, the historian, and the Godfather, that being Blood Boxing. But all right, man. So let's get back now. I caught you guys impromptu. I know Blood ain't gonna like that, man. But we did have, in the order of things we wanted to talk about this week, man, I want to get the predictions for this next fight that came up this coming up next week. We have Errol Spence Jr. versus Sean Porter for unifying the 147-pound IBF championship with the WBC championship. And then we also have on the undercard of that a fight that I'm really, really, really looking forward to, man, which is David Benavidez versus Anthony Durrell. We're gonna start this with KQKC, since he's in this morning and he's the most awake of everybody this morning. He was in the chat 10 minutes early, sounding fresh. What's your thoughts on that fight, man? Start with the card, man. How do you think that's gonna turn out, man? We need fight predictions so we can see if anybody has to eat crow next week.
That's okay. All right. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I've been talking about this all week on my live stream, and with Errol Spence and Sean Porter. Now, Errol Spence will pull it out. Now, by a decision. I do not think he would knock out Sean Porter. Let me tell you why. Sean Porter is what we call a come forward fighter, but he's going to try a lot of other things because he knows Earl is expecting that. So you can't put too much game plan in a fighter's head. He's saying he covering all bases. No, you cannot do that because they're going to get confused. Then what he's going to do? He's going to go back to what he knows how to do best. And that's what? Headbutt. That's what he's going to do. Headbutt, elbows, whatever Earl says. Then he's playing right into Earl's hands. He's going to frustrate him. Then he got a plan to retaliate on that. So what that plan is, I don't know. But I can tell you one thing. Errol Spence is looking good. He's looking strong. And that's going to be a great fight. And that's why I think he's going to pull him out. And Sean got a chin out of this world. Sean has a chin, and he will take a punch from Earl and keep going. Now, Durrell and David Benavidez. David Benavidez will pull it out over the more experienced and older Durrell. Now, Durrell, he throws his right hand straight. He's a very technical fighter to be so tall. Yes, Badu Jack did beat him. All right, we got 2 tall guys in there going at it. But Anthony Durrell is more polished even than his brother. They don't call him the dog for nothing. Now, the dog will rise to the occasion and give the young boy some experience. Have the young boy face a little adversity. That's what I want to see. And that's how it's going to be. And David Benavidez is going to pull that fight out. Okay, that's all I have.
So you got David Benavidez and you got Errol Spence Jr.?
Yes, sir.
But you got a decision.
Yeah, I got the decision for Errol Spence. I don't think he will knock out Sean Porter. Sean Porter has a chin. He has a chin.
I saw him get hurt but he got a chin, but does he have a body? How do you think Sean Porter's going to take body shots?
Okay, well, see, that's the question. That's the catch. Now, see, Sean Porter comes in ducking. He comes in fighting low. He's a short guy anyway, but he comes in short, low. So what he got to do is he has to go in there and sit there and box, small. That's all. But Earl got to get in there and go to the body, or maybe he might have to do some headshots. He might have to head hunt for a minute to open it up, that body.
Last question to you. What do you think happens if Errol Spence Jr. gets cut? Because do you think that Shawn Porter is going to be dirty? He's going to throw elbows. Do you think Errol Spence Jr. is experienced enough to handle something like that?
You know what? Errol Spence never faced adversity with a cut before. I know he hasn't, but he's determined to collect those belts. He said the ultimate goal is to unify the titles. And Shawn Porter, he is that type of fighter that would do anything. I mean, anything to win. I mean, he don't care how he look in the ring. He just want to get the job done. And that's the point I'm trying to prove, that Earl Spence was just a regular amateur. He was an international amateur. He has faced so many things, but he haven't faced a cut. He haven't faced that type of adversity, but he has faced adversity. So I think he will rise to the occasion. I think he is expecting a cut because Shawn Porter actually told him, I'll cut you. So, hey, let's see. But I tell you one thing. Let me finish for now. I'll tell you one thing.
Let me finish. Did I stop you from talking?
Yeah, I saw you finna say some shit, but
yeah,
hold on.
Nick, hey, you insecure, Negro. Tell me I grabbed the fucking bottle top, dog.
Okay. Okay. Now,
matter of fact, hell no, you can't finish, nigga. Mute.
Oh, you gonna mute me?
Oh, yeah, no, I ain't gonna mute you, man. Go ahead.
You want me to come out that jail? I'm coming out that jail.
Right? I just want to say, notice he hated on me. I actually asked my man 2 follow-up questions to let him get his shine on. Then the Negro got enough nerve to tell me, don't cut me off. I gave you 3 questions.
Oh, okay, I thought you.
For a half hour.
Okay, I saw you grab the microphone.
See, my mic's up there.
I
You
know.
didn't see me do no shit like this. Now the mic is up here. Way the fuck up here. I grabbed a bottle cap.
Let him talk, nah.
Oh, what, you got a big brother now? You got a little big brother? You gonna have your little brother blood beat me up? Go ahead, man.
But no, I just was trying to say, now you messed my chain of thought up. But I was trying to say that Shawn Porter, Earl Spence, he has faced adversity many times, I assume in his amateur career and probably in his pro career with Kell Brook, in the first couple rounds. So one cut is not going to deter that young man. That young man going to go in there and do what he has to do. He has a goal. He has something to prove. Shawn Porter has something to prove. So, like I say, we remember September 11. Like I said before, we remember the first black president. And we're going to remember September the 28th. I'm through.
All right. Curtis Anderson, man, I'm going to ask you the questions backwards, man. So, do you think Errol Spence Jr. can, but I would like to point out that Shawn Porter did not cut Keith Thurman. He didn't cut Danny Garcia. He didn't cut Adrian Granados. Those guys were all able to handle it pretty easily. But what are your thoughts on what KQKC said, Curtis? Do you think that Errol Spence Jr. has not faced adversity? And what do you think? What tactic do you think that Shawn Porter can use in that fight to cause Errol some problems if he can?
Well, first of all, adversity, yes, Earl, in my opinion, because he went to another country, he went to a foreign country and took the world championship away from Kell Brook. That's not easy to do, going into a hostile environment. So as a young fighter, that showed me a lot. Earl has a lot of character and a lot of intestinal fortitude because he got off to a rough start the first 6 rounds, and he took over the fight because of his skill and determination. And when I saw that, I said, this guy is going a long way. I knew he was going to become champion. I called a late round knockout in that fight. So did Oscar De La Hoya, because we knew, everybody knew on a broad scale that there was something different about Earl, his Olympic pedigree, him sparring with Floyd Mayweather and him beating Bruner, you know, and so to me, he has faced adversity and it made him a better fighter. When you go to a foreign country or you're a big underdog, psychologically, it makes you a better fighter, at least 30 to 40% better, you know. And look what he did to a 4-time world champion, Mikey Garcia. You know, he was chosen, and Mikey Garcia found out the hard way how special Earl is, excuse me. And, you know, he's multi-dimensional. He can box, you know, and he can punch. There's only one man in the division that can beat him who lives in Omaha, Nebraska. But, you know, there's I want to talk, you know, I want to go on to the fight this Saturday. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. You know, you got the rough and tough Sean Porter, who is a throwback fighter. You know, he's a throwback. He's strong, man. He has a middle linebacker mentality. You know, he would do anything to win. Head, elbows. That's just how he fight. He's not the first fighter that fight like that. You know, Henry Armstrong was rough. More on him later. There was a guy from Corpus Christi, Texas, by the name of Little Frankie Warren, that was under the tutelage of Lou Duva, who fought like Sean Porter. He's rough. But see, Earl's on another level, man, and people forget that Keith Thurman did hurt Sean Porter with a left hook. But see, the difference with Earl Spence, you know, he's going to hit, you know, Porter with the jab, but it's going to be the hard combinations that's going to come after the jab. Hooks to the body and to the head. You know, the way you knock out a fighter like Sean Porter is you kill his body, you know. And I keep going back and forth, late round knockout to unanimous decision. I'm gonna go out on a limb a little bit and says TKO Earl Spence 11th round, because I think Earl's mindset, he wants to make a statement. He has a little chip on his shoulder. That's just who he is. He too is a throwback fighter. You know, I think he's going to go to the body and wear Sean down. And, you know, I think the uppercut will work too. You know, so if I were Earl, I would throw a jab, straight right hand, then come with an uppercut, you know, but he has to move to his left or right because Sean is going to be in his chest. That's the only way he can fight Earl. So I'm going to pick Earl by 11th round TKO. Sean early on is going to make it an ugly fight. His only way is to try to push Earl back and use his strength. But Earl, you know, is too smart for that. People don't give Derrick James enough credit. You must have chemistry between a trainer and a fighter, a la Dundee, Ali, Leonard, and Dundee. You know, Dundee, Ali, Leonard, and Dundee. You know, you must have chemistry. You know, Kevin Rooney and the young Mike Tyson, and people don't give them enough credit. You know, so I'm gonna take Spence and TKO. And the co-feature real quick. I was never big on Anthony Durrell. You know, I don't think he has an extra gear. I think he's right for the pickings. You know, that title will change hands on Saturday night. Benavidez is too strong, too offensive, throw too many punches. He's gonna fight at his own pace. I like Benavidez to stop Durrell in 8 rounds.
Well, what do you think, Curtis? Scrapbook Boxing made a point, said Errol Spence, he says Earl, but he means Errol. Errol Spence has textbook technical skills, only weakness. Now, I'm not sure if what Scrapbook is saying, that weakness, the fact that he is textbook means that he can be predictable. That's something that has been said, like of Anthony Joshua. I think that's something that Evander Holyfield had said. What are your thoughts on Errol Spence Jr., well, boxers in general, and Errol Spence Jr. in particular, being so textbook that they then become more predictable and easier to plan to fight? Do you think that could be a problem with Errol Spence Jr. in this fight, or boxers in general?
That's a good question. To me, I would rather be a textbook fighter than more than anything else. But the point is, Earl is the type of fighter that can switch his levels. He can bang, he can box. He has a great corner. It takes more than physical skill. He has other tricks in the bag. He's not a tricky fighter like Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford is very cerebral and subtle. Earl is different. Earl has a very good jab. He is textbook, but he has pedigree, and he's smart. So he has other ingredients to not be predictable, like just textbook. He's textbook, but he has other things, in his repertoire to offset that. So, Earl is he's a hell of a fighter, man. I've been watching him since the Olympics, and it's other things. It's just not his skill. It's his intestinal fortitude. It's his moxie and savvy. And if you want to look at Earl's career, like I go back to the Brook fight, it really set him up to have a successful career by him having that type of fight and being in that setting. It made him a better fighter. And his mindset after that interview, he gave himself a C. He was very unhappy when he took the title. A lot of young fighters can't say that. So, he think of himself, as an all-time great. It's in his, it's just in his soul. Certain fighters have that. And he has that certain oomph that's in him that you can't teach.
Bush God. Come on, man. Yeah, Errol Spence has many weaknesses. I'd be very interested to hear, Bush God, what the many weaknesses that Errol Spence Jr. has. Errol respects counter punches way too much. His foot placement is predictable and has no head movement. See, Bush God, man, you're my guy, man. But when you go on exaggerating about world-class fighters, man, that's hard. That's hard to take, man. Ain't nobody getting away and having the type of fights Errol Spence have if he has many weaknesses. I just think maybe you are do we see a Terrence Crawford fan in the building? Because I think that might be a little bit of an exaggeration, my friend. Blood boxing. What are your comments about Errol Spence Jr.'s many weaknesses, and what do you think about the outcome of the fight?
Well, people say that Errol Spence has some weaknesses, but like you said, most of these are Sean Porter fans. Errol Spence has also seemed to gather some kind of hate committee too. So, that comes with the territory, man. When I think of Spence versus Porter, I think finally this is a fight that's almost here. It's a unification fight at that too. We have a unification bout in our hands. So me and my brothers will be paying for the pay-per-view on this particular fight. Can y'all hear me? First of all, everybody can hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Before I go any further, I want everybody to go over to Scrapbook Boxing's page. We got 70 more to get them to 1,000. Okay.
Let's put it on pause real quick. We're gonna hold up right now, and we need somebody to see. We need how many people does he need? 70.
We need 70 more people to subscribe to his page. Okay?
Come on, man. Let's get 70 people right now to go to Scrap. Somebody put the link, fill up the links, the comment section with those links, man, because that is a channel that definitely. I'm sorry, I don't mean to. You can finish. I'm sorry. I think that's very important. Please put and people confirm that you did it, and put the link to Scrapbook in the page and keep putting it there until we know that this cat can walk. Because there's 70 people in here that are not subscribed to Scrapbook. Okay, just subscribe. Even if you don't hit the bell icon, I prefer you hit the bell icon so you can get everything. But dude, this channel needs to be monetized. It needs to be part of the YouTube boxing community. It needs that. So please. Right. And then we got to do a couple live streams with your Scrapbook so we can get your watch time real far up. And that's just going to take just a few live streams just to get your watch time up. And then, man, because you need to be rewarded for that, man. Really. Go ahead, Blood. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. And while you're at it too, smash the like button, because for some reason you guys come in here. We wake up early on Sunday. I was up all night having a good time with my lady, and I woke up early for y'all, and y'all don't even smash the like button. Don't give us no like or nothing. We about 200 short of that. But anyway, let's go back to the subject at hand. Spence accused Porter for using dirty tactics during the face-off. For those fight fans that say Porter cannot box, you guys have it wrong. He showed us that he could box in the Danny Garcia fight. He also showed us that he has some skills in the Granados fight. I know y'all remember that fight. I wasn't that impressed because he did it against a few slow, flat-footed Hispanic fighters. Garcia and Granados are the type of welterweights that have been present throughout the social media era. I do have to say that the welterweights that are in the division now are more talented than the last crop of welterweights that was present during the Mayweather-Pacquiao era, which were a bunch of flat-footed, overrated Hispanic fighters that you guys call champs and all that stuff. If either Spence or Porter was present during that era, they may have been called legends of the sport by these new age fight fans. The Ugas fight was extremely close. I had actually edged it out for Ugas in that fight. Ugas brought something different to the table. In the previous era, we had maybe one or two welters that brought something different to the table, such as a Joshua Clottey. When fighters face different styles, okay, we are more likely to see these fighters take a loss. Porter, at this time, has taken 2 losses. I mean, look at his resume. The guy's resume is stacked, okay? One of the losses was against one of the mandatories that y'all's great Floyd Mayweather ducked for over a year. That would be Kell Brook, a fighter that y'all's favorite fighters wouldn't fight when he was undefeated and had some momentum going. He also lost Sean Porter, that is, to Keith Thurman. Thurman was another fighter that was ducked from this new era of so-called ATG fighters, okay? Thurman recently lost to one of the ATG fighters. He fought Manny Pacquiao. At first, I was getting ready to worry about it. I didn't think he would get either one. But he ended up getting a fight. Deep down, I really wanted Thurman to fight Pacquiao and Mayweather a few years earlier. You know, it came a little bit too late, but Pacquiao came out on top of that. Some fight fans gave Porter the Thurman fight. When Porter fought Thurman, there's still people who saying Porter won that fight. Porter, in my opinion, has fought the better fights. Then we have the southpaw Errol Spence. If y'all thought the last crop of welters lacked a Sean Porter type fighter, then they really lacked a fighter like Errol Spence. Basically, you have a southpaw Terry Norris, okay? Spence can do some of everything. He, too, can box off his back foot and displayed his skill set against a smaller skilled Mexican fighter in Mikey Garcia. Like his favorite fighter, Terry Norris, he's a dog in the ring. Porter and Spence also have a like opponent in Kell Brook. They did, however, catch Kell Brook at different stages in Brook's career. Let's not forget the Porter that fought Brook, fought a Brook that did not have a detached retina and had that undefeated momentum going, which seems to provide these fighters from this era with a more defined mental edge of some sort. But you got Errol Spence. He's taller, he's bigger, he's stronger. He fights out the southpaw stance. And like Scrapbook says, he's a textbook fighter, meaning that he doesn't do things in an unorthodox manner is what I think he means by that, which, you know how some kind of fighters who don't fight out of the textbook style of fighting, they'll lead with hooks and do things unorthodox, such as like a Roy Jones. He's not going to lead with hooks like someone like a Roy Jones would do. He's not going to switch from conventional to orthodox like Terrence Crawford and maybe not set traps in the same way. But I think that Errol Spence could do all of that too, though. He is kind of textbook, though. But he's a very talented fighter. He's a big southpaw in the welterweight division. I think that what's going to happen in this fight is during the beginning of the fight, these two, they're going to feel each other out. There's going to be a little bit of feeling out, okay? The fight is going to take place in the mid-rounds. That's when the fight is going to start to settle, okay? You're going to see Spence starting to land that big left, okay? He fights out the southpaw stance. He's going to be, Porter's going to have to use every trick in the book. I hope his dad is ready. I hope they got a good game plan. They need to circle away from the power hand. They need to do everything they can. Like I said, Sean Porter showed us that he could fight off his back foot. He did it against slow-footed Mexicans, okay? This time it's going to be against Errol Spence. If this was the previous era, like I said, he could have did this for 5 or 6 years. I mean, call it all-time great, fighting guys like Granados and Garcia, okay? So you got a big fight between two young fighters who are still, pretty much in their prime. I'll have to say that Errol Spence is going to start to land that big left, and it's going to end up going to the distance. I think that Sean Porter has the survival skills to last the distance. Errol Spence, unanimous decision. That's what I have it.
Okay. When you say, just on the point that you had about this crop of welterweights versus the crop of welterweights when Floyd Mayweather Jr. was there, what are your thoughts on how Floyd Mayweather Jr. would perform with these guys, with the crop of heavy welterweights that are here now?
He didn't fight these kind of guys. There was no Terrence Crawford. Floyd never fought nobody like Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, Sean Porter, Kell Brook, Keith Thurman. All he fought was the Adrian Granados, Danny Garcia type. He fought guys like Victor Ortiz, Maidana, slow, flat-footed Mexicans. That's why I'll never rank him as a very highly rated fighter. That's why he's the top, somewhere in between 50 and 60. I have him in my top 75 somewhere, but his resume is trash. It's filled with nothing but a bunch of slow-footed Mexicans. And if anybody else had his resume, such as an Errol Spence or a Terrence Crawford, they'll have the same exact resume he got. He just fought in the trash era. It's not his fault, but he did.
But what about 130? But what about 135? You're talking about his welterweights, but what about 135 with Castillo, the Gennaro Hernandez, the fight with Diego Corrales, Angel Manfredi, guys down like that in the weight class that he was in? You don't think that ranks that would allow you to rank him a little higher than?
No, I'm not going to rank him much higher because I'm not that big on the best one during that time is that brother what's his name, the guy who the Cuban guy, what's the guy's name?
Casamayor,
that's it. The Casamayor guy, he didn't fight him. And there, I don't really rate those guys that high. Those guys he fought, he looked good for what was in his. He was a good fighter. He's a great fighter. But
blood, you have to understand. Yeah, they might be flat-footed, but they can get hard.
Okay. Let's. I'll bring it back to you, man. I'm sorry. Start ordering a debate against. Just finish what he's saying. Then I'm gonna go right to you.
On the panel here, Fanon is defending Floyd Mayweather's legacy. His welterweight
First of all, I didn't tell you what I thought. I haven't told you what. I haven't given my opinion on nothing. I'm just saying. I asked you a question.
Listen, man. He didn't fight nobody like Terrence. He had a chance to fight. Listen, as a lightweight, those guys didn't want to fight him. Even Casamayor didn't want to fight him. I would have loved to see the Costa Zoo fight. There was a few fights, and when he did fight somebody, that what's his name, Castillo. Castillo's the typical fighter that existed in the 1930s and 40s. Okay, a straightforward fighter that was going to bang him, that was tough. All right. So he only, when he fought somebody like that, he took an L, okay? So, they gave him the fight, but in my opinion, he took an L, all right? He never fought someone like Terrence Crawford. He never fought. I think he has a good chance against a fighter like a Crawford who could switch from southpaw to orthodox, who's as fast as he is, who hits with power. If Terrence Crawford was available, though, Floyd would have retired and found a way not to fight him because, and I'm going to continue to bang on this generation for y'all's ATG choices and things like that. That's why they go around and make up records and all that, which we're going to get into that later in this discussion. But I'm going to continue to bang on you guys. I'm going to continue to talk shit the way I talk shit, and this is the way it is. Nobody has ever been able to come onto YouTube in the 12 years that I've been present and give me a reason why Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather is as great as they have him, other than Ben Thompson at Fight Hype City. Okay, so just kill all that noise, man. I brought it up because I like this crop of welterweights, and I think that they all need to fight each other. Okay, I don't want to be waiting around forever for Terrence Crawford to fight the winner of Sean Porter versus Errol Spence. He's already going around talking about he's not going to fight Sean Porter because they're buddies and all of that stuff. I don't care about this shit.
Thank you, Bud. You didn't answer my question. But let's move this over to KQPC.
No, I'm not ranking them any higher because
was not my question.
We're man-fighting guys.
But that was not my question. That wasn't my question. I didn't ask that question.
Okay, what you asked?
I asked you, how do you think he would do if he fought these guys?
He would
all off and shit on the man's forehead. But that's okay.
Spence will beat him and Terrence Crawford will beat him.
Hold on, Blood. You asked that question. I'm cool with that.
Look how quick I answered it. I just answered it.
You said Hold on.
He'll lose to Spence and he'll lose to Crawford. He'll get a UDO over what's his name? Thurman and Sean Porter, but he can't beat Crawford and Errol Spence. I could tell by that Zab Judah fight. He was struggling when he finally fought somebody who had a little bit of speed and had some reflexes. He's struggling there. Go look at the first 5 rounds of that Zab Judah fight. Then I'll leave it at that, man.
Fair enough. KQKC, what would you like to say to Blood? And then after that, before anybody responds, I've got to read these super chats. Much love to everybody. Whose tube is this mine? Y'all, I'm gonna go through the super chats as soon as KQKC completes his interruption.
Okay, all right. I apologize for that interruption.
No worries.
All right, but I was trying to explain to Blood that Floyd did fight some flat-footed Mexicans, just like his uncle, the Black Mamba, but they was hard-hitting Mexicans. That's why Floyd was such a defensive specialist. He never took a punch flush. He always moved his head correctly, always used that, that shoulder roll, everything he has done. Everybody in this era is trying to emulate from the money on down. But Floyd, you got to put him a little higher than that, Blood.
Nah, man, he's probably about somewhere between 50 and 60. Last time I counted, I had at least 60, 65 people ahead of him. His resume is trash, is garbage. He looked good because he didn't fight guys who had the reflexes to hit him flush. Who you call it knocked him on his ass? Well, didn't knock him down on his ass, but he knocked him down because both gloves hit the canvas. Zab Judah knocked him down, okay? Now, if he would have fought guys like Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, if he would have even fought guys like Paul Williams, high-volume punchers, I would have been more impressed. Or even a technical fighter like a Winky Wright. Why didn't he fight Joshua Clottey? You got to fight all these guys, man. Vernon Force would have been a good one for him. Like I said, when he was in those smaller weight classes, them guys didn't want to fight him because he did call them out, and they, for whatever reason, didn't want to fight him. But when he got up into welterweight, that was just a trash-ass reign. His welterweight reign was a joke, and I can't believe that how people, because they've been watching Fight Hype and they'll get all their information from boxing websites. Hey, I came up on the KO and Ring magazine and shit. All right, I came up from the era of the 70s, so no, I don't see it. He didn't have nobody in his division, and I like what we have now, and I would like all these guys to fight. That's all I want to say.
Fair enough.
Okay, fair enough.
Let me get to these super chats real quick because we way over them. Man, on the Cash App, much love to my man, Tube Robinson. Thank you, sir. And whose tube is this mine on the Cash App? And whose tube is mine in the super chat? It says the Don. Happy Spence Porter Sunday, Maine. Shout out to you, the cast of LDBC from Roll Tide Country, Bomb Squad, Man Down, Strap Season, T-Rex, The Quote, Javante Tank Davis, Black Devin, Black Jesus Haney, Joshua Pittman, much love in that super chat, says, say no more, just sub. That is to my man, Scrapbook Boxing. Jeff Gregory Wyatt is insulting me, saying Fanon is being a bully. You got that shit right. I'm the moderator. That's my damn job, is to keep all this bickering shit down to a fucking minimum so everybody can get their voice in. You saw I passed that shit right back to KQKC for him to get his $20 in, because it's more than 2 cents. That was a very knowledgeable response because Blood's on some bullshit, and I can prove it, and I will as soon as I get done with these super chats. And after I pass it to not some bullshit, but contradicted himself. Let me get to the super chats, and I'll tell you how. Sean Jones with 20,000 COPs. I'm not sure what that is, but much love to you 20,000 times. Props to Fanon, the Don, and Blood, and KQKC. Love all the homies. I got to do this real quick. Kurt, I got to mute you because that's moving around a little bit. And then my man, Trill Boxing Talk. Definitely check out Trill Boxing Talk Monday through Friday. Start time right about 10:06 a.m. Central Standard Time, 11:06 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. much watch Monday through Friday with Black Fight Fan TV and 78 Sports TV. He says, I agree, Blood. Both the seasoned Crawford and Spence beat Floyd Mayweather Jr. Much love for that cut. Thank you very much. Let me point out to where Blood. See, Blood don't know this. I've been watching Blood for a long time, dog. Years and years and years I've been watching Blood. Well before I ever showed my face, had a YouTube channel. But y'all don't know what Blood said. Blood was killing Floyd Mayweather Jr. And then one day a fight was made between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Canelo Alvarez. And Blood said he liked that fight. If he beat Canelo, you would give him full credit and acknowledge that he was a very, very good fighter that might be deserving of the credit that he was being given. Now, you know that last part is some bullshit I added, but you get my point. Why you reneging on your promise to give
man,
credit?
I took those videos down, so you can't prove I said that. Hey, you know what? I did want to give him full credit, but when you really think about it, he still catch weight in him, man. And he was the guy was a kid, man, at the time. I mean, and plus, Floyd always had USADA, so you know he was real good with them doping the DCOs. He had a real good relationship with the DCOs with USADA, so he made sure that he could juice up. You remember he had IVs stuck in his ass one time.
Oh, come on, man. We can't take it. I'm sorry for
doping control agencies to hide behind, man. He came in there juiced up against that little guy like that. But you know, I give him 75% credit for it.
But look, man, you can't. The IVs in his ass. That's Steve Kim, man. Steve Kim said that shit. That ain't never been verified. That's a rumor out there.
Nah, that one there. That's the only time that fat Asian boy ever been right in his whole career.
That boy's out there slinging hate, dog. He was out there slinging hate on some rumor. Just like Deontay Wilder's brother tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs. You got to take all that shit with a grain of salt. That dude, anyway, that dude. But hey, much love in the super chat. Cypher Supreme says, I also think Paul Williams and Sergio Martinez would beat Floyd, but we never know for sure because Floyd didn't want no smoke. Hey, Paul Williams, that would have been great. Like, Sergio Martinez, 154 and 160 pounder. Sergio Martinez. I think Andre Ward would have beat him, but I don't think that's ducking. What are your thoughts on all of that, Curtis?
Well, I want to say I've been following Floyd since he was an amateur. Floyd was a excellent fighter, but guys that can beat Floyd had rhythmic and perpetual motion. You know, like black fighters. You know, when you look at fighters like Chop Corley, who hurt Floyd 2 or 3 times, Shane Mosley, who hurt Floyd, and Zab Judah, who gave Floyd problems, but you got to give Floyd credit because Floyd made the adjustments. See, the best thing about Floyd is that his mind, he can think his way through a fight. I mean, at 130, 140, he had physical skills. He said his body started to fall apart after the Toro Gatti fight. So when he moved up to the welterweight division, he had to fight smarter instead of harder. So, and then plus he became a businessman in the welterweight division. So he was looking to fight certain fighters on, Hispanic fighters, Latino fighters on Cinco de Mayo. So he started calling it Cinco de Mayweather and pay-per-view, May-per-view. So if he would have fought guys like Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, you know, he probably would have had a loss or two because to beat a fighter like Mayweather, you must have a rhythmic and perpetual motion, and athleticism and skill set naturally that most, black fighters have who, enter the ring, so that was Floyd. He knew what he was doing, but I judge Floyd when he fought at 130 and 140. He did call out Shane Mosley, who was known as a boxer, puncher boxer in the lightweight division. Nobody wanted smoke with Mayweather when he was at 130 and 140. Costazu, who quit against Ricky Hatton, but that's another story. Floyd was an excellent fighter for his time, but I would like to see him on to have fought more black fighters. You know, he would have lost against Winky Wright because Winky Wright had the right style, even though it was at 154, and Floyd fought at 154 because Winky Wright was a long fighter with a ramrod jab, great defense, and he was a big fighter. You know, Floyd had a lot of intangibles, man. He just knew how to win. But like I said, you offset that by a rhythmic and perpetual motion because that's what Floyd used against Hispanic fighters. And see, it's not a race thing, it's a culture thing where, you know, Floyd knew that if he fought guys like Madonna, because remember that first fight, he predicted it would be a tough fight. He said, and people forget this will be a different kind of fight. He kept saying that in the press conference because he knew he can beat those guys. Like Canelo, it looks good because Canelo's a big, strong fighter, and that's all Floyd did was use his feet because he studied Canelo and he broke Canelo down. He said, if I make Canelo use his feet, I will beat him. And that's how you beat Canelo to this very day because he doesn't have those genetics. So it goes a little deeper than styles. Floyd has that. Floyd can move left to right, backing up. You know, when you look at fighters like Mayweather and Leonard and Hearns and Roy Jones, they have something extra. Not that saying it ain't got nothing to do with supremacy, but it just has everything to do with genetics, and it is a certain type of rhythmic motion. Lomachenko has it. He's not black. You know, Hector Camacho had it. You know, Nicolino Loche had it. You know, a great defensive fighter from Argentina. You know, but Floyd knew this and he played on it. So that's how I felt about it. He knew to stay away from certain fighters who can possess those genetics that he had. And he used his Latino fan base because they hated him. So there's a lot that goes into that. And it worked out fine for him. He maximized his dollar. And like I said, when he became a welterweight, he became a businessman.
Hey, no doubt about that, man. Let me do something. I get used to a little feature that we have. There you go. Let me get to the super chat. My man Sean Jones said blood went hard for Don already this week. Let's get Arrow versus Sean. the 28th of September. Yeah, man, I cannot wait for that fight. I always get nervous about fights, so I'm a big fan of Errol Spence Jr., so I want to see him win because I think that's going to lead to undisputed much before you get anything out of Sean Porter. I think Sean Porter, the thing that makes me funny against Sean Porter, and I don't know if your conversion's right. I think that 20 is probably closer to 10 because it came in yellow. I always look at the color. They color code it is what they color code the super chats as well as give you the number. But regardless, man, anything works, man. We appreciate you. Gregory Wyatt in the super chat, much love. He said, to echo and agree with Fanon in the public realm, black athletes aren't necessarily genetically gifted. We just work harder and smarter to achieve our athletic goals. I think that is something that is very, very, thank you for saying that, Gregory Wyatt. I think that is when it's pure. Now, there's clearly situations where you have people who are better athletes than other people, like me, for example, in blood. I'm just a far better athlete, but it ain't got anything to do with my slightly darker skin than he has, or my slightly better looks.
Stop kidding yourself, Fanon. Stop. I'm not letting you get away with that, man. Hell no. Hey, man, keep the conversation rolling. Let's keep it pressing. We got super chats to cover. We want to keep the audience involved here. So let's sway off into the Never Land, okay?
All right. Hey, keeping with that, man, let's move on to the next one, man. I'm going to give this to my man, Curtis. We're going to start with this. But really, this is something I know that Blood is going to really like to talk about. My favorite, the number one pound for pound fighter in the world. I did get it. The number one in D-Style Boxing. Much love in that super chat, D-Style. The number one pound for pound fighter in the world, Canelo Alvarez, is the new Armstrong. Henry Armstrong will equal Henry Armstrong's accomplishments of 1938 by beating Sergey Kovalev, and that's a fact. According to Ring Magazine and other morons, What are your thoughts on that, Curtis Anderson?
I think it's disgusting, man. And I like Canelo Alvarez. I really do. I got him as the third best fighter in Boxing Day behind Lomachenko and Crawford. I got Crawford 1, Lomachenko 2, and Canelo Alvarez 3. Spence 4, Usyk 5. Those are my top 5. But it's disgusting to compare him to Henry Armstrong. People who doesn't know history, see, these guys say that because they're banking on people's ignorance when it got to do with the history of the sport. They figure you're not going to do any research. They figure you don't know these guys like Henry Armstrong, so we could say whatever. You had Oscar De La Hoya was reading off a piece of paper, and I'm just sitting there laughing, to compare Canelo to Henry Armstrong, sacrilege, because people don't know how great Henry Armstrong was. Henry Armstrong was a guy who held 3 championships at the same time. It should have been 4 because that middleweight, they called it a draw against Seferino Garcia. He won that fight, but the powers that be didn't want him to achieve, having 4 titles simultaneously. Just to put in perspective, Henry Armstrong in 1937 fought 27 times. He scored 27 knockouts. In 1938, he was 14-0 with 10 knockouts. And that time for non-blood chat KQ, he was 59 wins, 1 defeat, 1 loss with 54 knockouts. He fought great fighters. He won the welterweight championship weighing 133.5 pounds. So he skipped the lightweight. He was featherweight champion. He skipped the lightweight division, went up and beat the great Barney Ross, then came back down and beat Lou Ambers, and that's how great he was. He was one of the best inside fighters you will ever see. He was a swarmer, but he did it with skill. And people forget, he fought Sugar Ray Robinson in 1943. He lost, but he was in the ring with him. Ray Robinson carried him, but this is a man who I got as my 3rd all-time greatest fighter ever. Number 2, Muhammad Ali. Number 1, Sugar Ray Robinson. So they're banking on you not knowing these fighters so they can, wash away the history of certain fighters and talk about Lomachenko and talk about Canelo and talk about Manny Pacquiao. There is an agenda. There is an agenda here, so it's up to us, new media, to do our research. And not only that, but to keep these fighters in the forefront, because if we don't, they're going to replace them. And Canelo Alvarez one day will be in the Hall of Fame, and who's a very good fighter, but he's nowhere near the accomplishments of Henry Armstrong and nowhere near the fighter of a Henry Armstrong.
Yeah, man. Hey, we're going to pass this to KQKC on this one. Well, let me ask you a question, though, Curtis Anderson. What fair comparison? I mean, if you were to compare like a Canelo Alvarez and where he kind of sits relative to other people who were greats from, let's just say prior to 1980, who would you think was closer in comparison to Canelo Alvarez? And while you think for a second, just one, I want to say 1 second. And know why I'm doing this? Because I know first of all, we don't have all of the likes that we need in here. We got 177 people. We got almost 340 people in here. I can ask Curtis Anderson and Blood Boxing questions like this and KQKC questions like this. It'll take them a second and they're going to come up with a coherent answer. That's how you know somebody that knows the history of boxing and isn't really just faking it. Go ahead, Curtis Anderson.
You know what? That's funny you asked me that, because it's not a definitive answer that I can come up with. I'm going to tell you why. Canelo has had a weird career because he picks and chooses his fighters, and don't get me wrong, if he beats Kovalev, which I think he's going to knock him out, but see, it's going to look good for to the naked eye because he's moving up in weight, but he's picking a fighter that's ripe for the pickings. Kovalev is ready to be beaten. So it looks good to people who don't really know boxing, the ins and outs of boxing. So his achievements are going to look good. But when he fought people like Miguel Cotto, who I thought he was going to destroy, and he didn't, he lost to a 36-year-old Mayweather. He got schooled. He lost to Erislandy Lara, but because of politics, he got the victory. He was in a close fight with Trout. He didn't beat Danny Jacobs like I thought he was going to beat Danny Jacobs. That's my own personal opinion. He weight drained Chavez Jr., who looked like a skeleton. He didn't knock him out. He knocked out a weak chin, Amir Khan, who was knocked out multiple times before he fought Canelo, who moved up in weight. He knocked out James Kirkland without Ann Wolf. So these are facts, what I'm giving you. So he's a good fighter, man. But I have to wait till he finished to really assess his career, because I want to see what happens in the Kovalev fight. I want to see what happens after that. I would like to see him fight Bevell, because Bevell can box and punch. Kovalev will dare to be hit. So he's picking and choosing people that he thinks he can beat. So that's why Kovalev is is getting a fight. But it's hard for I can't come up with a name yet.
Let me ask you a question. How do you think? There's one parallel that I see between people only fighting people they want to fight are the heavyweights and the champions. The heavyweights and the champions of the 20s and 30s that wouldn't fight a Jack Johnson, that wouldn't fight a Harry Wells, that wouldn't fight when they had the colored champions. And they wouldn't fight them. The Murderers Row, the welterweights that were there wouldn't fight for championships against the people in Black Murderers Row. Do you see any comparison or between this, picking who you want to fight between this belt and that belt, right? That could actually lead to the frustrations that you see that Gary Russell Jr. expressed when he acted a fool with that we talked about in the beginning of the show.
I would have to say, yeah, you had Murderous Row, you had people like Charlie Burley, that the middleweights wouldn't fight. Tony Zell, I don't respect him because he was a thucker. That name comes to mind. Holman Williams, they was ranked like 1 and 2, and he gave Marcel Cerdan a fight and he wound up getting knocked out. Jake LaMotta was the only one who was willing to fight those tough black fighters. So when you look at, Canelo Alvarez, is a little bit of Tony Zell, and Canelo's a warrior, but his career, like I said, banks on fighting the right guy at the right time, and when you look at those, older fighters, like you said, I can only say Tony Zell because, he ducked some of the Black Murderers Row, and Jack Dempsey as well, because he ducked Sam Langford and Joe Jeanette and Sam McVeigh, those guys, and Harry Wells, So when you look back on it, it's the white fighters, because they had what you call the color bar, at that time, prohibiting black fighters to fight a white champion, But Canelo has had a great career, but it's been a weird one to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great answer. Let me get into a couple of these super chats, and I'm going to pass this on to that same thing to Blood. We got Melvin Wright said, Fanon is on one today. I'm laughing my butt off, man. It's always fun to play to clown with Blood. Sean Jones said, who is going to the Arrow versus Sean, and who's buying the fight? I'm buying the fight. D-Style said they need to stop bringing up these legendary names. Yeah, no doubt about it, man. But that's what they do with this, when they're marketing this stuff up, man. It is what it is. I think these are terrible overstatements. Fanon said, Jafar Exceed said, Fanon, who has Ali fought that fights like Mayweather? Somebody that leaves I don't think that I've seen anybody that fights like Floyd Mayweather. Fights in that style, like a heavyweight that fights in a Philly shell and moves around, or a little itty bitty dude who he can knock clear out the fucking ring because he's too small. But if you want to know if what you're trying to get to is the level of competition of Ali versus the level of competition of Mayweather, that shit is night and day. Night and day. Floyd Mayweather Jr., I do believe, has fought maybe 2 Hall of Famers. Maybe. Manny Pacquiao, Juan Manuel Marquez, I guess Shane Mosley.
Shane Mosley.
Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya is a Hall of Famer. But they're okay, so that's
Miguel Cotto.
Yeah, Miguel Cotto's 5, so he's got some Hall of Famers on his resume.
And Gotti would have been one if he didn't die.
Man, Gotti's going to be a Hall of Famer because take this off of solo. Gotti's going to be a Hall of Fame fighter because people liked him, not because he's a Hall of Fame level fighter, not remotely. But Muhammad Ali, Archie Moore, Sonny Liston, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Kenny Norton.
Let me name 2 fighters he fought that were technical fighters, okay?
Technical fighters? All of them. Joe Frazier.
Errol Foley, who is a scientific fighter, okay? Kurt knows about that. He also fought Jimmy Young. Okay, Jimmy Young was a very good boxer. So, Jimmy Young and Zora Foley, they could roll punches and all that kind of stuff. They're just not little guys. When you're a little guy who weighs 135, you could do a little bit more. The one thing you can't do is take a heavyweight punch. So I don't know where my boy right there got that from, but that's okay, whatever.
Well, okay, so go on with the Blood. What's your thoughts on the Canelo Alvarez question that I just asked? I know you were going to did a video and did a live stream earlier this week on that. Speak your mind on that, man. I think we'll go wherever you want to go with it.
All right, man. You're going to have to give me 5 to 10 minutes on this one, bro, okay?
I'll give you 6.
Okay, listen. I was coming home from work the other night, and I noticed that there was this presser for Canelo versus the Kovalev fight. Just as I was deciding to listen in, Oscar De La Hoya, he took the mic. I wasn't really looking at the presser because I was on the road. I noticed that Oscar's speech sounded a little choppy, so I took a look at the screen, and Oscar is reading his speech word for word off of a few pieces of paper. My problem with that is that Oscar is paid a large amount of money to promote these fighters, and I have yet to hear him or his side bitch, Bernard Hopkins, ever promote one of their Golden Girl fighters. I've never heard these guys promote nothing, and they're getting paid all this money. Both of these guys are an embarrassment to the sport of boxing. Oscar is too busy snorting cocaine and playing his little rectum games, and I'm choosing my words. I ain't say no bad word. I just say he's playing his little rectum games. So for now, don't take it down because I ain't say no bad words, okay? This clown, he's playing his little rectum games, and he couldn't even prepare a speech for his fighters and doesn't have the gift of gab to give us a speech off the dome. Bernard Hopkins is also a terrible promoter. He, too, was up there reading bullet points and couldn't provide the audience with a speech off that big Superdome shiny head of his, okay? I think that he's displaying early signs of Parkinson's and dementia at this time, Bernard Hopkins. Once again, it's not common for these fighters to know the fight game as well as the fans, especially some of the historians when it comes to accomplishments and records, okay? Some of these guys want to rewrite history. I've even seen a few of these fanboy boxing websites credit the only 2 fighters that historically matter to them as being undisputed fighters, which they never was. Between the boxing websites, the fighters themselves that want to rewrite history to suit their agenda, and the promoters, we as fight fans will never get the truth. It's bad enough that they are creating new records based off the presence of multiple title worthless belts, okay? Even a C-class fighter, a bum-ass fighter like Adrian Broner, whatever that boy name is, can come on here and claim that he's a 4- or 5-time world champion. That's why it's easy for a fight fan that read his first boxing articles on boxing websites like Fight Hype to say that their hero defeated 28 world champions and, you know, all that dumb talk. Anytime that you hear a fight fan speak of multiple belts and how many championships a fighter has fought, he's definitely a new age fight fan that got his information from a boxing website like Fight Hype. If they use Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao as an example to every point they are trying to make, that is a sure sign that they know nothing of the previous era. These fighters that turn promoter, they're aware of that, okay? What's even more outrageous is that all of these fighters that turned into promoters hated promoters when they was fighting. Hopkins wanted Don King out of boxing, but he has yet to promote a fighter in the fashion that Don King promoted fighters. He gives us some little speech about his own accomplishments and says nothing about the fighter that he's supposed to be promoting and doing his fucking job with. He had a problem with Don King ripping him off. He says Don King ripped him off and all that. Yet Bernard wants to rip off young fighters like Ryan Garcia. Those guys are not providing promotional services. So why are they even paying those guys, okay? Reading off note cards and all of that stuff. Bernard Hopkins also glorified committing crimes against his own people in his own community. I heard him do it. I don't know if y'all heard it, but I heard him fucking glorify committing crimes against his own people. He was the type of guy at 18 that will rob the drunk standing in front of the corner store. He will rob the drug addict and take $25 from him and may even take his 40-ounce a quart of Old English, a Colt 45. That's the kind of guy he was. Some drug addict would go in and pay 3.5 grams for cocaine, and B-Hop knew he was coming to the drug dealer's house, so he'll be waiting outside, and he'll rob the drug addict of his cocaine, his 3.5 grams, and go sell the 8-ball to his auntie. That's the kind of guy he was. Yet he got a problem with Don King. His boss man wears fishnet stockings, committed statutory rape with a minor, 14 years old, has multiple DUIs, was found with cocaine on his person, let some woman dildo him in his cornhole. And once again, I'm not saying nothing that's should have this video taken down. He let some girl dildo him in his cornhole. I ain't say no bad words. Yet he has a problem with Don King. His boss man moaned and groaned while some bimbo stuck a spatula up his rectum. While this bimbo stretched out his booty, Gay La Jolla was wearing fishnet stockings and lipstick and had on high heel pumps. A former tough guy inmate from the streets is now running around with a dildo in the booty, high heel pump, wearing coked up sissy. Not to mention their decision to ignore racist emails that came from their crater face butt buddy over there, yet he had a problem with Don King. A fellow brother from the streets that did time for murder gets out of prison and maneuvers his way into boxing to become the most powerful man in boxing. He has a problem with him, but yet he cool with Gay La Jolla. Don't make no sense to me. On top of that, he's now running around calling himself a promoter. Then you have Gay La Jolla, who had a problem with Aaron. What with Bob Aaron? What does Gay La Jolla do? He becomes a promoter himself. One qualification for being a promoter is having the gift of gab. Gay La Jolla never had it, okay? The only time he has displayed any kind of gab is when he's asking the next bimbo to strap up. And I don't mean strap up with a condom like what we think of strap up. You know, it's a different kind of strap up that I'm talking about with him. These clowns showed us their true colors when they decided to take one of our legendary fighters, Henry Armstrong, and compare him to a cherry-picking catchweight fighter, okay? A guy that's never been undisputed. He's had, you got to remember that, like what Kurt Anderson was saying, Armstrong had 3 of 8 titles in 1938. At one point, one of those belts was vacated, okay? I did the research. I did a video on it. I don't remember which belt it was. So at one time, he had 3 of the belts. It should have been 4, and there was only 4 other people in the whole world who had a fucking belt. So how can you compare anybody to that? Okay? Considering that there are more weight classes, Canelo would have to be an undisputed champion in at least 3 of those weight classes before the discussion could even be brought to the table. But like Kurt Anderson Sugar says, what they do is they rely on the boxing fan being naive, okay? They rely on their lack of knowledge on the sport, okay? But all of us has been naive, all right? All of us, every last one of us on this panel has had a naive moment. If you're human, then you have a naive moment. In the 1990s, I'm gonna make this real quick. I used to go to church, okay? I was going to church to try to bang this girl that I wanted to bang, and she wouldn't give me none unless I came to church with her. So I started going to church with her, and one day after church, there was a gathering of people, and they was talking, and that's what they would do after church. And I saw some girls in the corner, and they was over there talking and shit. So I went over there because one of them was the girl that I wanted to bang's cousin, and she had a big butt. So I walked over there, and she was talking about blowing. She said, "Girl, you sure know how to blow." Well, I could blow better than you. And I thought they was talking about blowing dicks. I didn't know that blowing meant singing. So I'm up here. I told them, I said, "Hey, shit, if y'all both blow, shit, both of y'all could blow me." And the way them two girls felt about me is how I feel about naive fight fans in the early 80s, okay? My cousin told me, he said, "Hey, if you want to get a girl," it must have been around 81, 82. "If you want to get a girl, you got to tell these girls that you want to play house or doctor." You know what I'm saying? I said, okay. So I started for about 2 years. I was going around at school telling girls, "Hey, let's play house and doctor." And they thought it was cute. And shit, a few of them actually played house and doctor with me, okay? There was this older girl that I approached, and I said, "I always wanted this girl." She lived across the street, okay? Her name was Monique. I said, "Hey, Monique, you know, we should play house and doctor." And I got better at my words, too. I was like, "We should play house and doctor, okay? If we play house, I'm the husband and you the wife. If we play doctor, you the nurse and I'm the patient." She just rolled her eyes at me and said, "Get out of here with that," because she's older. So anyways, I left. I walked off. Then a few days later, she was over there with a few of her friends. She called me over here. She said, "Hey, Marlon, come here." I went over there. She said, "You still want to play house and doctor?" I said, "Oh, yeah, I want to play house and doctor." So she said, "Tell me like you told me the other day." I said, "Shit, well, if we play house, you the wife, I'm the husband. If we play doctor, I'm the patient, you the nurse." She said, "Okay, so you want me to play doctor with you, right?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Okay, I'll play doctor with you." And she said, "You want me to doctor you up, huh?" I said, yeah, I want you to doctor me up." She said, "Okay, you want me to pepper you down with some kisses?" I said, yeah, I want you to pepper me with kisses." She said, "Close your eyes." Not knowing, so she said, "You want me to doctor and pepper you up?" I said, "Yeah." Not knowing I was about to get a soda spilled on my fucking head with my Here Beer shirt, I had the Here Beer Bunch shirt. There was a cartoon in the 1970s with these black beers called the Here Beer Bunch. She fucked up my fucking Here Beer Bunch shirt, poured Dr. Pepper all over me, made me look like a fucking clown, okay? And that's how I feel about boxing fans in 2019. The way those girls felt about me at church in 95 and the way in 81, them girls felt about me in 81. That's how I feel about you guys. Y'all are naive, stupid. Go out and do your research before you can come to the table and talk to the OGs in this motherfucker. And that's what I got to say. Sharpen up in your knowledge. Stop letting these guys get away with it, okay? You got also, not to mention the zone. I mean, these guys are such bad promoters that they took Canelo, who's supposed to be a skilled fighter, out of the public eye. And Danny, what's his name? Ryan Garcia put them on some app that nobody's going to buy. All right, these guys are making mistake after mistake. They're terrible promoters. Now they're talking about legacy type shit. So no, I will never respect these guys. And I'm going to keep going and keep busting on these fucking clowns. And anybody who comes to me with all that new way talk, I'm going to bust in your ass every time. That's all I got to say.
Man, let me get these super chats, and then we'll go to my man KQKC Boxing. And by the way, dude, the guy that said it sounds like Simon Diggles. You think you're getting away with that shit? You crazy? Look, dude, you think Blood sound traumatized because he had problems with women? That's called practice. And that's how most people wind up learning how to actually get women. So if you don't fail, how you know when you're going to succeed? You know what I mean? And Blood is explaining the concept that you probably don't know nothing about. Trying to get some. All right. Everybody going to strike out on occasion. But dog, come on, man. Now, let's get to these super chats. Omega Red said, Blood just went off. I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about anymore. B&B said, Blood be slapping cats in real life. Sean Joe said, boxing is trill. At 135, we need Haney versus Loma. 147, we all want Arrow Bud. Heavyweights, let's get Deontay and Ruiz already. Yeah, man, that's exactly right, man. That's Sean Jones. You on fire today on the chat, Sean Jones. But yeah, man, if you can't relate to asking to getting turned down from playing doctor from a chick, that takes balls. Like you walk with a chick, hey man, I want to play doctor with you. Yeah, they know what that means. You trying to search cavities. That's G shit. Hey, hats off to you, blood. Hats off to you, blood. Because when I was
playing doctor in house, doctor was always better because when house you had to play the role like you the husband, but when you play doctor, you got right to the point. You know what I'm
saying? Exactly, dog. That's like in college, man. In college, it changed to truth or dare. That shit was like you knew it was on and popping. If you ask a chick, "Hey, what y'all doing? We playing drink games. What you want to play? I want to play truth or dare." If a bunch of chicks said cool with truth or dare, she was on and popping, dog. Doctor changed to truth or dare. But KQKC, man. Oh, I think I got a super chat. Then I'm gonna go to KQKC. I think there's one I missed because I think one came in right away. He said, I got to be Blood's #1 fan. Pre-Sean says Queen 71. Nah, dog. I'm Blood's #1 fan, dude. I ain't gonna lie, dog. Blood, man, I was like, that Blood hit me to YouTube boxing because I was like, damn, this dude is going off. And I was watching every video he made. That's how I know his ass lied about giving Canelo out. He reneged on his promise to give Canelo Alvarez his credit. That was back in what year did Canelo fight Mayweather? That was before the Manny Pacquiao fight.
2014 or 2013. You're right. I did renege on that. You're right.
Yeah, you like a mug. Renege like a mug. He said, fuck it. Right after that, I ain't giving him credit for shit. KQ, man, what's your take? What's your take on on Canelo being the new Armstrong? Let me give you a full screen. You guys saw me moving. Oh, by the way, get the likes up over 300. Shout out to Blue Blood Sports TV. Since people putting advertisements for Blue Blood's new channel in the chat, at least I can do is steal his copyrighted phrase. Man, get these likes up over 300. That ain't even right, dog. We got 234 people. We got 359 people in the building. We only got 234 likes, man. And let me steal somebody else's. Stop being ear sluts. That is BFTB. Yeah, there you go. There's GG. I think GG is a huge Blue Blood fan. So yeah, man, let's get these likes up over 300. KQKC, and by the way, subscribe to Blue Bloods live TV so you can check out Curtis Anderson on the show. Curtis Anderson, what day did you say the show's on? Is it every day at 6:30 or is it a day a week? What is it?
Monday through Fridays at 6 p.m. We try
Eastern?
to go to 7. What do you say? I'm sorry, Fanon.
Eastern Standard Time?
Oh, I'm sorry. Eastern Standard Time, people. Blue Blood Live TV. I'm the co-host, Kurt Sugar. We have great content. 6 Eastern Time. We try to go 6 to 7, but, you know, it's a call-in show. We go 6 to 8, 6 to 8:30, wherever the conversation takes us. That's Monday through Friday. Blue Blood Live TV. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right. Hey, KKC, so what's your thing, man? So what's your thoughts on this Canelo Alvarez and Henry Armstrong comparison? Sorry, I've had you sitting for a while.
No,
and
that's okay.
I want to let you know, though, I got something special for you. I've been practicing this just for you, KQKC. Full screen. Go. You solo, dog. You solo.
All right. Okay, I appreciate that. Well, I think it's a shame. It's a damn shame. And Blood is right. You know, Oscar De La Hoya had a nerve, first of all, to tell Canelo, I call him Pamper Bob. All right. The reason why, for people that's not subscribed to me, is because we know Bob Arum is over 90 years old. He can say what he wants. And, you know, when you over that age, you know, you lose your bodily functions. And when you lose your bodily functions, you know, at that age, you wear what you call a pamper for older people. And that's what he does. That's why I call him Pamper Bob. Now, Oscar De La Hoya had a nerve to say that, hey, look, mind your own business, Bob. Don't worry about Canelo. Canelo is my guy. See, he's my guy. I love him. Now, this is what he said. Now, this is quote and unmother quote. All right. Now, he said, I love him. He's my guy. Wherever he goes, I goes. And you know what? He might be right. Because for those who've been behind the big wall, should know. When you got a man in prison, you follow him everywhere he go. You his bitch. Put it that way. All right. You hold on to his pocket and you walk wherever he goes. And that's what Oscar De La Hoya is doing. Canelo been Golden Boy backbone ever since they fell to the wayside and lost all their boxers. If your last name ain't Gutierrez, you ain't with Golden Boy. But it took one guy, one young 21-year-old, to tell him that, hey, look, no more. You're not taking advantage of me. No more. What you're going to do is this. You're going to give me more money to fight Duno. You try to sneak it in, and it didn't work because I want to be relieved right now. Because every time I get into a fight, I never get what I want, but I give in at the end of the day. Why? Before my fans. Because I got a following. I got my father here, and I got my mother here. So that way, I'm going to do it, and I got it on camera right here with Fight Hype. So I want to be relieved, or I want more money, or I'm not fighting tomorrow night. That was the night before the fight. So guess what? Everything automatically changed. Yes, blood is right. You know, when you ran around your wife, house coat, girdle, and dress, and high heels, and fishnet, black pantyhose, you tend to make your mistakes by your mentality. Okay? That's mentality. That comes from not from many boxing. It's his way of life. Okay? We all know he's been in rehab. We all know he's an addict. We all know what he does. Now, addict, you might be clean, but you still have that same way of thinking. Now, keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. Don't ever think Oscar De La Hoya is on the up and up, because he's not. He's do whatever's good for Oscar De La Hoya. We still ain't got the apology from that racism comment he made, his fellow employee made. All right? So let's keep this real. All right? Now, Ryan Garcia, he got what he wanted at the end of the day. He got what he wanted. Because you know why? Because Canelo supports him. They asked him, Oscar De La Hoya lawyer asked him, well, what did Canelo say? And you know what this 21-year-old said? He said, that's between me and Canelo. You have to ask him yourself. But I can tell you this, it will support. It's 100% support. So what Ryan Garcia is doing is what every other fighter should do today. What he got to do is this. Stand up for yourself. Don't let the promoters run a mockery over you. Like Eddie Hearn. He's doing the same thing. Now ain't no more money. Now what you gonna do, Telvin Farmer? Now what you gonna do, Danny Jacobs? I ain't seen you in a while. There you go. Oh, Terrence Crawford. My mama said she didn't love me. I don't feel sorry for Terrence Crawford. He's a grown-ass man. He knew what he was getting into. He knew what Bob Arum was doing. He knew Bob Arum been doing that shit since 1965. And ain't nobody can tell me that Bob Arum gonna change at the age of 91. That's all I got.
That was an excellent answer to a question I did not ask. What do you think about Henry Armstrong and Canelo Alvarez?
That's what I was saying. That is bullshit. Okay. Let me tell you this. Okay. Okay, look, Fernand. Let me finish it. Right.
Mute. See, they call me bully. And I asked about Canelo Alvarez and Henry Armstrong. And you just told me about Oscar De La Hoya and Ryan Garcia. Okay? Now, I don't mind because I love the answer. But you Negroes in them comment sections, stop calling me a bully. Okay?
Well, then take him off of mute, Fanon. Stop muting us. You keep doing it to me, too.
Okay, let me finish. Let me answer that. Okay, let me answer that. Okay, I'm gonna answer that. Okay. No, I think it's a bad comparison. Okay. First of all, Canelo, he has a loss on his record. You can't compare him to him. Okay. Canelo haven't put in that work. Like I said earlier in the comment section, you have to fight at a regular weight. You cannot fight every fight at a catch weight. Then when you got a mandatory that you think you can't beat, you run up another class. You got mandatory, been waiting since 2017. So you cannot tell me you're going to compare him to Armstrong. There's no way you can compare him. Yes, he said he learned from what that whooping Floyd gave him, but no, he didn't. All he learned is how to be smarter, not better in fighting. He was better at ducking. That's all he was doing. Now, that's good for you for now?
Yes, it was. Thank you very much, sir.
All right.
And as a result, I will ask you a follow-up question.
Sure.
Name your top 5. On the outline we sent top 5 prospects in boxing. But before we do that, because that's the next subject we're going to get on to, before we wrap this great show up that we had, it's a lot of fun. And, I really, KQ, I don't have a problem with you answering whatever question you want to answer, even if I didn't answer it. It's all these people that say I be bullying you. And when I'm really the one victimized by blood boxing, trying to set me up for all kind of traps.
Oh, whatever, Fanon. Cut it out, bro. You're the one who tries to set traps all day with all of us. But you don't mess with Kurt, though, because Kurt's knowledge is way too far. But you try to mess with me and KQKC all the time. That's all right, though.
That's because I like Curtis. Rest of you Negroes. That's because I like Curtis. You Negroes down there on the bottom. That's why I put y'all asses on the bottom of the thing. I got Curtis in the upper right-hand corner. Now, on the real, though. What's your, hey, man, give me your, what I meant to say is let's get the likes up, man. Seriously. Pay respect to my man KQKC, who's doing great work on his channel, man. If you guys are not subscribed to KQKC, his live streams are getting better and better and better and better and better. He's and he is. Do you hear what he said? Omega Red says, sing the answer, KQKC. You say no.
No, I can't sing it that long.
I say he ain't singing that long for you. But let me go to this Curtis Anderson. Let me go to Curtis. I'll come back around to KQKC for that, man. Who are your top 5 prospects in the sport of boxing, man? Since we talked about some current news, we talked about old school conversation. Ancestral Red says, stop muting us. I will mute you motherfuckers anytime I feel like muting you. Hey, it's my channel. You guys talk shit about me anytime you want to do it. When I put a video on, when I put a video out and you don't watch the whole thing, you mute me. You be like, yeah, I get the point, mute. You switch the hell up off and go watch somebody else's video. It goes both ways, dog. It goes both ways. But please subscribe to KQKC Boxing. Subscribe to Blue Blood Boxing Live. And please subscribe to Blood Boxing Live and the other channel that he has, because these guys put great content out. These guys are putting great content out and great work out every day. But also, let's get the likes over 300. That would really, really, really be greatly appreciated. But go ahead, Kate. But go ahead, Kurt. What's your thoughts on the best prospects in boxing right now?
Number 5, I have Virgil Ortiz. Number 4, I have Chris Colbert, who fought last night. He scored a spectacular knockout. Number 3, from my hometown, Newark, New Jersey, Shakur Stevenson, who improved. I wasn't big on him at first, but he made me a believer. Number 2, I have Devin Haney. Great athletic, great skill set. Only getting better. And number 1 is from the city of brotherly love, Jaron Ennis. Jaron Ennis, I think, is special. He's tremendous. So those are my top 5 prospects. I think Ennis is the best out of all of them because comes from the fighting family and all around skill set, power, speed, angles. He's going to be a major player, and Devin Haney as well. He calls out Lomachenko, so that tells me he's a fighter. So, there's a lot of great prospects, but those are my top 5.
That's a good 5. Let me get a couple super chats before I pass that back to KQKC. And then I'm going to talk bad about somebody in the comment section because you got me real twisted. Boxing Good says, first, Sean Jones, again, man, much love in that super chat today, man. That's much appreciated, man. You really holding it down. Said thank y'all for Don and Blood and KQKC. Man down already. Yes, sir. Boxing Guy says salute to the mighty LDBC OGs. Thank you very much. And where did this go? This dude talking this craziness about me. Fanon, the kid at the court that didn't get picked, leaves with the only basketball brought to the court that day. First of all, I could ball, and I always got picked. Second of all, dude, I hand basketballs to KQKC. If you didn't check it out, see when I'm talking, just so you know that there's method behind the madness. Okay, I want you to subscribe to KQKC. I want you to support KQKC. We want KQKC monetized because KQKC is one of the hardest working dudes on YouTube. He's doing video after video, live stream after live stream, and we definitely wanted to make sure this man continues to have a platform and his platform grows. So when I might be playing with him a little bit, but dude, I have invited him behind the scenes to make fun of me if he can put off, but you know, he just ain't up to the task yet. But that's my dude. Same thing with blood boxing. Blood boxing has been, I'm honored to have blood.
I will make fun of you, though. I will make fun of you, and you was the guy at the basketball court that got your downs thrown. Okay?
Got my what?
You had downs at the court. If I would have saw Fanon in 92, he's the guy who I would have taken the downs from. I would have taken it. I would have just totally took his down. I'm just letting y'all know that, okay?
Let me tell you, if you would have tried to take my downs on the court, not only would I have reached up as high as I could and slapped the fucking taste out your mouth, the second thing I would have done is go look for that chick you tried to pour that Pepsi on your fucking head, and I would have went and boned her. Okay? So I would have got your ass coming and going, homie. Gee, I was the one that told her to go pour. What'd he say to you, baby? Hey, pour some Pepsi on that motherfucker's head. You get him good. Anyway, Blood is my dude. Blood is my dude. That's my dude. One of the best, longest man's been doing this in boxing, talking boxing YouTube with 78, man. Great channels. Kurt, boxing expert, man. So don't get, I know some of you guys might be used. Don't get me. I'm just playing, man. I'm just playing. But who's your best, who your top 5 prospects, KQKC?
Okay, yes, sir.
And if he doesn't answer the question, I am going to clown.
Oh, yeah, look. Fanon is a great guy. You know, we good buddies. So, you know, he just playing and, you know, I love it, you know, so love the show and everybody, you know, Fanon's a great guy. So don't be hating on him because when you hate on him, you're hating on me. So, all right. But these are my top 5. Now, I have Gary Anton Russell. Okay. Now he's number 5. I'm going up. Number 5. Okay. I got Innocent. Jerron Innocent. He's a good prospect. I mean, prospect. And Haney. I have Haney. He's real doing things that most of these guys was not doing. I mean, these are young guys. They doing things that the other older guys should be doing. They should be calling out. The best should be fighting the best. They should make these fights. You know, he making noise. He's calling out people. And then I got Shakur Stevenson. You know, now I know he's under top rank tutelage, but still, you know, he's still a good fighter. He still got a lot of work ahead of him, but he's getting stronger. He's getting that what you call man strength, you know, and he's boxing. He's boxing good. You know, he's learning a lot. And I'm quite sure he's learning a lot from Terrence Crawford because him and Terrence Crawford are good buddies. So, and then I have, now this was a close one. I had Telefino Lopez and I had Virgil Ortiz, right? Now, but I'm going to have to go with Ortiz because Telefino Lopez sometimes is like smoke and mirrors with him. You know, sure, who he fight, you know, he looks good, but, you know, when he in a difficult fight, you know, it seems like, you know, he get his feelings hurt, put it that way. So therefore, you know, I'm gonna have to go with Ortiz as number 1. And that's my top 5.
Blood.
Okay, man, let me put a disclaimer out there. First of all, I only have 3 of them before Fanon talks crap, okay? Because I only got 3 of them. And I'm going to tell y'all why. because when I'm looking at the spreadsheet right now, all I'm seeing is a bunch of these title holders in these unproven ranking systems. It's because of the way boxing is structured at this time in 2019 that I can't determine who the prospects are, because let's not forget that we didn't even know who Anthony Joshua was. Some guy who was buried deep in the rankings came out and beat his ass, all right? So it's hard to determine who these prospects are. You have to use the eye, and you have to kind of make a judgment call, because we got all these guys going around here, all these pretenders running around here with belts, and they still want prospect status when they even have belts. So I still got to prepare a little bit more for that fighter over there. They're supposed to be the guys that y'all call champions. I guess this is one of those type of champions that, that Floyd Mayweather, that you guys say he beat 26 champs and all of that. I'm on my hate. I got my hating hat on today. All right. I guess it's one of these type of champions, but my prospects are Shakur Stevenson, since he don't have a belt, since we can't name guys who have belts. I think that they're, I don't know how to distinguish, but number 2, Devin Haney, and number 1, I have someone different than all of y'all. Okay. I don't know them other fighters that Kurt and y'all mentioned, because I don't got time to keep up with all these guys. But my number 1 is a kid from out of the UK, Daniel Dubois, his name is. Okay. I think he's the future heavyweight champion. He's young and everything, but just give him a few more years, man. This guy gonna come, and he has a different attitude than all those other heavyweights that come from out of England. He's his own man. He speaks for himself. He's a little mild-mannered, but I'm seeing some of that attitude come out, though. In his latest interviews, I'm starting to see it come out a little bit, man. I think we're going to have a very interesting fight. If they move him the right way, I have Daniel Dubois as my number 1. I'm calling that this guy, I think, has the ability to be a great fighter. He just needs to stay away from Deontay Wilder for the next 2 to 3 years. If he could stay away from Wilder for about 3 years, Wilder will be 36, 37. If he's going to take the Wilder fight, that's when he goes in and takes the Wilder fight, okay? But other than that, I don't have any prospects or nothing like that. I do like certain young fighters. Can I expand on my answer for now? Let me ask the boss if I could expand.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Hey, you go ahead, man. Do you, man?
Okay, like, for instance, I would call guys like Tank. I would call them kind of prospects, even though they got top. I don't consider those guys champions. Like I said, there's way too many belts. When these people go around and they talk about champions, these new age fans, are you talking about the Adrian Broner 4-time champion type? Or are you talking about Andre Ward, a solid champion who won a tournament? What are you talking about here? Because there's different types of champions. You have that little guy, that little midget guy who's 5 feet tall, Tank. He said some shit about Andre Ward the other day, man, talking about trying to downplay Andre Ward's accomplishments when this guy lost his belt on the scale, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty much gave his belt up, can't stay grounded, getting in trouble outside of the ring. He let some bouncer beat him up, some bouncer who was drunk and snorting cocaine all night, I heard. Fat bouncer go out there and beat him up and stuff like that. So, he's just another little midget with an attitude who thinks he's going to be some kind of superstar, and downgrading one of the only pound-for-pound fighters that I've seen in existence. Like I said, since the social media began, I've seen 3 pound-for-pound fighters. Andre Ward, no, don't say Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, because if he didn't fight Paul Williams and all of them and he retired, he ain't no pound-for-pound. He didn't fight those other guys when he came back. Manny Pacquiao didn't fight them all either. So those guys were fight hypes. What's that guy's name? Ben Johnson. Those are his pound-for-pounds, not mine. My pound for pound was Andre Ward, who participated in a tournament, and not only did he do that, he moved up to light heavyweight, beat the Crusher. He's the one who washed Kovalev up. He washed him up by giving him that damage, okay? So you had Andre Ward as a pound for pound, and then you had Terrence Crawford because he had an undisputed status. So he had a pound for pound status until he moved to welterweight, and now he's not fighting the top welterweights. And then you had Usyk, who I gave pound for pound status. If he would have remained as a cruiserweight and reigned as an undisputed, I would have him as my pound for pound now. But, these guys got it all mixed up, man. They got it twisted. We don't know who the prospects are. We don't know which one of these guys are really champions, or are they just title holders, or they prospects. The environment is so screwed up. I did do some research. I found out that they did buy some rankings. Maybe Kurt Sugar knows about this, but in the 1980s, the IBF was buying rankings and stuff like that. And the guy who was the president before Daryl Peoples, I can't think of his name, was arrested for buying rankings. Okay, I forgot what his name is, but he got arrested.
Bob Lee.
What's that?
Bob Lee.
That's his name. Okay. So Lee was arrested for buying rankings and stuff like that. So it's been happening before, but now these guys are doing it all the time. Nobody's getting arrested, nothing. Okay. They're buying rankings. They're making up these, who they want to be hot and all of that stuff. That's why what happened with Joshua was a great example of what boxing represents today. So my prospects, there you go. Daniel Dubois, I like him the best because he's a heavyweight. Heavyweights don't got nowhere to run. They don't got nowhere to hide. Daniel Dubois is the top prospect. That's how I'm leaving it there.
All right, man. Let me address something, man. First of all, you dudes out here, let me explain some rules in this stream, man, because there's some things I don't like to do. Like on the panel, we try to keep people from interrupting each other because that gets in the way of you guys understanding what everybody's saying. But on the chat side, if you disrespect blood boxing, you can get the fuck go. Blood boxing ain't hating on Floyd Mayweather Jr. Blood boxing is telling you what he saw in Floyd Mayweather's career. And Floyd Mayweather's career is, it's not hard to criticize his choice of fighters at 147 pounds. Did nobody, when he says that Floyd Mayweather Jr. fought, when he did, that he fought on May 16th, May 5th, and September 16th, and he fought guys like Robert the Ghost Guerrero, Juan Manuel Marquez, Lucas Matisse, Oscar de la Hoya, Victor Ortiz. He's telling the truth. He didn't fight Paul Williams. He didn't fight Winky Wright. He didn't fight any of these. He didn't fight Sean Porter. He didn't fight Keith Thurman.
He didn't fight Joshua Clottey. He didn't fight a lot of people. So whoever this guy is who disrespected me, you could go to hell, man. I don't care what none of these guys say. They are new age fight fans. They got their information from Ben Thompson from Fight Hype, okay? They started watching boxing late. Like I said, these are the signs that tell me that people are new. When they say things like Floyd beat 26 world champions and they can't go no further than that and discuss what a champion is, they can't even define a champion. That's one sign. Manny Pacquiao is an 8-time world champion. That's another sign. Anytime they go back to Floyd or Manny on other examples, it shows me they know nothing about the past. And that's why sissies like Oscar de la Hoya could come on here after wearing fishnets and lipstick and tell us that Canelo could compare to Henry Armstrong. It's because of guys like you. I don't want to talk to you guys. You guys don't understand. I don't like you guys, man. So it don't matter. I don't care what you say. Man, don't even block them guys. Just let them guys talk. Them guys mean nothing to me. All right? Don't never come to my page with that junk, though. Don't never come over to me with that. You know better. I go on live streams. These guys stay away. They know not to come and approach me on any platform. I go live with everybody. I go live with anyone. I put myself out there. I've exposed myself. I put live streams out there. You guys are scared of me, man. Shut the hell up and learn and listen when blood boxing talks, boy. All right?
Yes, sir. Hey, Blood, we're gonna have to let me get my answer in to that last question. And I thought that was a great answer, Blood. See, y'all got me being extra polite now. Now I'm sensitive, and I don't want people thinking I hate people on the panel. See, I'll be sensitive. But mine is Money Pal. I'm going prospects. I'm not going contenders. I'm not going champions. So you're going to see that I don't have Teofimo Lopez, and I don't have Shakur Stevenson on this list because their next fights are for titles. WBO at 126 pounds. The fight between, I think, Garcia and Shakur Stevenson is going to be for the belt that was vacated by Oscar Valdez, the WBO 126-pound title. And the next fight for Teofimo Lopez is going to be for the IBF belt against Richard Comey. So I've got Money Pal, I've got Virgil Ortiz, I've got Jaron Ennis, I've got Little B-Hop, Colbert, who just started somebody last night, and I agree with Blood Boxing on Daniel Dubois. I don't know if he says Dubois or it's Dubois, but I have him at heavyweight. But I got to run out of here because my son's got a basketball game that's going to be going on. That I got to get him there in about 35 minutes. Much love to everybody in the chat. We definitely thank everybody for getting us over the 300. Make sure you come back next week. Next week's show is going to be a flame because it's going to be after the Errol Spence Jr. fight and after the Errol Spence Jr. Sean Porter fight Sunday morning after that. So, hey man, if there's an upset, we'll talk about that. If there was an absolute beatdown, we'll talk about that. If it was a good fight, we'll talk about that. But I hope you guys attend. Please attend. Set your reminders. Know that it's going to be at 8 a.m. East Central Standard Time next Sunday with my man Curtis Anderson, Blood, KQKC. To wrap it up, let me let KQ get your final words in, what you want them to know about you, how to get in contact with you. Then we'll move to Kurt. We'll move to Blood, and then we will wrap this up. KQ.
Okay, yes, sir. You can find me right here on YouTube at KQKC Boxing. All right, and you can catch my show Monday through Friday at 12:30 p.m. I come on right after Fanon International Boxing. All right, now, Fanon, I don't know if you're gonna read the super chats or not, but Omega Red made a request, and I'm just gonna do it for him. But go ahead on, which is
no, go ahead. There's actually two. I'm sorry, there's two that I forgot to get. Gregory Wyatt said, well, the Don, the singing OG, the historian, I got Omega Red, then Gregory Wyatt says KQ, the singing OG, in that you can sing that. Sean Jones said, my top 5 Errol prospects. Errol's a prospect, or top 5 in boxing is what you asked. Errol, Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, Deontay, Bud, and Tank. And my man D-Lo44 said, I love and appreciate what you guys bring to us consistently. Thanks and salute. Thanks and salute to you. But go ahead, KQKC, do it.
Yeah, who was that? Omega Red or Gregory Wyatt?
Gregory Wyatt said he didn't ask you to sing Super Chat.
But no, never mind. I thought
you know they missed the singing OG now.
No.
Come on now. With that suit. Come on, man.
Okay. Gregory Wyatt in that suit. Chat. There you go.
Yes,
all right.
Curtis Anderson. Let him know how to get you. Kurt?
Oh, I was on mute. Sorry. You can reach me. I'm at Blue Blood live Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Great show. Curtis Anderson, aka Kurt Sugar, and of course, obviously, OG Boxing Talk every Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Man, I just want to say, man, being on a platform with Fanon and Don, KQKC, and Blood, man, this is a great show, man. It's entertaining and you being enlightened all at the same time. And I want to say thank you, chat. Without you, we wouldn't have a show. So thank you for your input and the super chats. It's just a pleasure, learning and talking about and sharing my knowledge about the great sport of boxing.
Yes, sir. Blood Boxing.
Hey, man, it's been another great show. OG Boxing Talk, man. I'd like to thank everybody for Non the Don, KQKC, Kurt Anderson Sugar, my 3 big brothers. And also, you know what? I just checked Scrapbook Boxing's page, and he's to 958 now. All right, he was at 929, so we're getting there. But the people who came in just now, go over to Scrapbook Boxing, okay, and subscribe to his page. Let's get him to 1,000 today, if possible, okay? We're going to keep this going. We're going to have a great show next week. I'm looking forward to mixing it up with you brothers again. Shout out to the LDBC also. And you guys take it easy, man. I'll be back. Peace.
All right, man. Hey, we got Errol Spence Jr.'s former strength and conditioning coach, the Blueprint 8 in the building, man. Much love, man. I'm glad that you like the show. Also, man, just real quick, if you can, I don't think you moderated. Come by next week, man, so we make sure that we can get your information into the chat. Blu-ray. Honored that you came by the chat, man. Honored that you came by the chat. I want to do one thing before I get out of here. I want to let you know we had a conversation about boxing, about some issue last week. Never mind, I ain't going through that. Anyway, much love to everybody in the super chat. Much love to everybody in the chat. Thank you to everybody that supports on the Patreon. I got some videos coming out today. For the people that are subscribers, it really helps my channel more than anything else, along with the super chats and all that stuff, to watch the video all the way through. Really would like to get your input on the questions that I ask at the end of the videos. But you know where you can get me. I'm on Twitter now. I follow Fahim Satur on Twitter. It's at Fanon Boxing on Twitter. So follow me there. And also, we'll see you on OG Boxing Talk next week with the great panel of the great KQKC Boxing, who's just getting better and better every week. And every show, he's killing on his live streams. Curtis Anderson, Blue Blood Sports TV, got a great co-host in Curtis Anderson and Blood Boxing. Definitely check out his documentaries. Hopefully, we're gonna have some more of those coming out soon, and we'll be back next week. And with that, we out. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.